Hollywood was at its best in the 1980s, when its stars enthralled audiences and lit the big screen. These figures, who ranged from action heroes to teen idols, shaped a generation with their charisma, skill, and standout performances. Now, though, where are they? While some have remained prominent and kept redefining their legacy, others have opted for more subdued lives away from the spotlight. Have their careers taken unexpected turns or ripened like an excellent wine? Let us travel back in time to discover the current activities of these iconic stars from the 1980s. Prepare to be amazed by unexpected changes, touching updates, and untold tales. Jennifer Connelly. When Jennifer Connelly was younger, she began performing. The movie Once Upon a Time in America gave her a big break in 1984 when she was just 14 years old. Still, her performance opposite David Bowie in Labyrinth 2 years later is arguably what many remember her for the most. But her career didn't end there. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Connelly kept up her career, appearing in movies including Requiem for a Dream and Dark City. Connelly still acts now, but represents Amnesty International as an ambassador for human rights education. Brooke Shields. When she entered high school, Brooke Shields was a well-known actress and international supermodel in popular movies like The Blue Lagoon and Endless Love. Shields acted as a teenager. She later starred in many other blockbuster movies and led global advertising campaigns for well-known companies and designers. Following high school, Shields put her career on hiatus to pursue a degree in romance languages at Princeton University before returning to acting. Shields is still active today and participates in several commercial endeavors. Demi Moore. When Demi Moore left high school at age 16 to pursue her career as an actress, she began her career. She then starred in movies like About Last Night and St. Elmo's Fire with Rob Lowe and Emilio Estevez. As she grew older, she played increasingly mature parts in films like A Few Good Men and Indecent Proposal. And her parts in Ghost and G.I. Jane made her one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses. Moore is still an actor, but prefers indie films, which are more artistic than big-budget ones. Jonathan Ke Quan. Initially starring as Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and later as Richard Data Wang in The Goonies, Jonathan Ke Quan was a vast child celebrity in the 1980s. He was a famous star by the time he was 12. Ke Quan continues to work in movies today, albeit not as an actor. Instead, Ke Quan, who has worked on films like X-Men and The One Under His Belt, is a highly sought-after stunt coordinator. Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton initially gained notoriety by playing the courageous and tenacious Sarah Connor in The Terminator. Hamilton became well-known thanks to the science fiction action horror movie, and she then reprised her role in Terminator 2, regarded as one of the greatest action movies ever created. However, at least momentarily, Hamilton found love in addition to fame thanks to the Terminator series. Hamilton wed James Cameron, the director of Terminator, and later the director of Titanic and Avatar in 1997. Hamilton kept acting after her appearances in Terminator and has been regularly featured in movies and TV shows ever since. She's even received an Emmy and 2 Golden Globes for her efforts. Ralph Macchio. You might be surprised to learn that Ralph Macchio was already in his 20s when he portrayed Daniel LaRusso in the seminal film The Karate Kid. In addition to being a member of the Brat Pack, Macchio filmed My Cousin Vinny and Crossroads after his role in The Outsiders. In recent years, he's appeared on sitcoms including Ugly Betty and 8 is Enough. Glenn Close. There is no denying Glenn Close's skill and charisma in cinema. Although she made her film debut in 1982's The World According to Garp, the 3-time Emmy and Tony winner and 7-time Academy Award contender may be best remembered for her performance in Fatal Attraction. Since then, Close has pursued acting, appearing in numerous TV series and movies. In 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, she appeared as Nova Prime Irani Rael in the Marvel film world. Bo Derek. In the early 1980s, Bo Derek, whose real name is Mary Kathleen Collins, was very popular. She first gained notoriety as a model before being chosen to play Jane in Tarzan the Ape Man in 1981, helmed by her husband, the renowned actor and filmmaker John Derek. Although Bow remained involved in several films and TV series, she entered semi-retirement after her husband died in 1998 and now only occasionally appears in productions. Heather Locklear. In the early 1980s, Heather Locklear was well known due to her involvement in television series such as Dynasty and Melrose Place. In addition to playing Caitlin Moore on the hit show Spin City, for which she was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, Locklear starred in a few more notable films such as Money Talks in 1997 and The Perfect Man in 2005. Although Locklear has been concentrating on her job on television lately, she has also had several difficulties in her personal life. In 2017, when tabloids reported that she'd been admitted to a rehab facility, Locklear issued a statement stating that she was dealing with personal problems. Alyssa Milano. Because of her work on ABC's Who's the Boss, Alyssa Milano rose to fame. In 1984, when Milano was 12 years old, the well-liked sitcom began airing. It ran for 8 years until she was 20. The show made Milano one of the most adored teen celebrities in America. Following the program's conclusion, Milano starred in Charmed, My Name is Earl, Melrose Place, and more recently, Insatiable on Netflix. Milano is still involved and uses her fame to advocate for causes like women's rights and humanitarian relief. Erika Eleniak. In Steven Spielberg's iconic science fiction movie, E.T. in 1982, Erika Eleniak made her acting debut. She made an appearance as Elliot's science class crush in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. She became incredibly popular after being cast as Shawnee McClane in Baywatch a few years later. During the 90s, Eleniak appeared in several movies, including The Beverly Hillbillies and Under Siege, in addition to her TV prominence. She still acts after giving birth to her daughter, Indiana, in 2006. Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue appeared to be everywhere for a period in the 1980s. She starred in Back to the Future 2 and 3, The Karate Kid, and Adventures in Babysitting. She received an Academy Award nomination in 1995 for a performance in Leaving Las Vegas as Sarah. Her career has continued to flourish ever since. She co-starred with Ted Danson in CSI Crime Scene Investigation as a series regular. She also starred in Battle of the Sexes in 2017, and more recently in The Boys, a hugely popular superhero drama on Netflix. Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy, another notorious member of the Brat Pack in the 1980s, has appeared in other classics such as Less Than Zero, Pretty in Pink, and St. Elmo's Fire. McCarthy concentrated on television after the 1980s, appearing on programs including Royal Pains, White Collar, and Lipstick Jungle. He's been working behind the camera in recent years, and his work as a director in Orange is the New Black has earned him multiple accolades. Karen Allen. After Karen Allen played Marion Ravenwood opposite Harrison Ford in 1981's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, audiences fell in love with her. Allen's career was launched, and her captivating performance cemented her position in movie history. Later, she would return to the scene in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in 2008. Allen has been acting for years, appearing in movies including The Sandlot and The Perfect Storm. She is still performing today. Diane Weist. Diane Weist is a well-known actress who acted in several iconic 1980s movies, such as Edward Scissorhands, Bright Lights, Big City, The Lost Boys, and Footloose. Her performances in the Woody Allen movies Bullets Over Broadway and Hannah and Her Sisters earned her 2 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actress. She still performs now, most famously in the comedy Life in Pieces on CBS as Joan Short. Elizabeth McGovern. Elizabeth McGovern had only made 2 short film appearances before her role in Ragtime in 1981, for which she received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. There was a lot of pressure on the young McGovern to start her career on such a high note, but she could handle it completely. She appeared in Once Upon a Time in America in 1984 and has since made several appearances in movies and TV series. Her most well-known recent role is perhaps that of Cora Crawley, Countess of Grantham in Downton Abbey. Sean Young. Even today, aficionados of science fiction would recognize Sean Young immediately because he played Rachel in Ridley Scott's 1982 Blade Runner and Chanu in David Lynch's 1984 Dune movie. After these two memorable appearances, Young did several additional films in other genres, such as Ace Ventura: Pet Detective in 1984, starring Jim Carrey. She still acts and works today. Lori Singer. Lori Singer is well known for her roles as Julie Miller in the first two seasons of Fame and Ariel Moore alongside Kevin Bacon in the 1984 film Footloose. The singer is more than just an actor, though. She's a cello soloist with Juilliard training and a film producer. She produced the Peabody-winning documentary Mea Maxima Culpa, Silence in the House of God. Lea Thompson. Because of her role as Lorraine McFly in the Back to the Future movie trilogy, Lea Thompson is still well known and adored today. Thompson's portrayal of Marty McFly's mother at different points in her life was a remarkable acting masterpiece. After her part in Back to the Future, Thompson starred in Howard the Duck, George Lucas's 1986 addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then Beverly Hillbillies. In addition to her numerous television performances, Thompson still acts today and has a recurring part in Switched at Birth. Barbi Benton. Barbi Benton, whose real name is Barbara Lynn Klein, is arguably one of the most iconic figures of the 1980s. At 16, Benton began working as a model before landing the role of host of Playboy After Dark, a television program connected to the well-known Playboy magazine run by Hugh Hefner. But Hefner was linked to more than simply the program. After moving into Hefner's Playboy estate, Benton dated him for more than 7 years. Benton pursued acting and even participated in the well-liked TV series Fantasy Island, in addition to her existence at the mansion. Benton is now married to George Gradow, a millionaire, and works as an interior designer. Ally Sheedy. A member of the Brat Pack, a group of teenage actors who starred in teen films of the era, Ally Sheedy was a star in the 1980s teen film industry, led by films like The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. Sheedy has appeared in several movies and television series since her tenure in the Brat Pack, including Psych, CSI: Crime Scene Investigation, and X-Men: Apocalypse. Rebecca De Mornay. In the 1983 movie Risky Business, Rebecca De Mornay made her cinematic debut opposite Tom Cruise. She made an appearance in The Slugger's Wife 2 years later. Her role as Mrs. Mott/Peyton Flanders in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle in 1992 solidified her reputation as a formidable force in the film industry. Her career is still thriving now. She starred opposite John Travolta in the 2016 thriller I Am Wrath and multiple episodes of Lucifer's hit television series. Marla Sokoloff. The majority of us recall Marla Sokoloff from Full House. From the time she dragged Stephanie to a makeout party to when they took a car for a thrill ride, Sokoloff's portrayal of the wild, peer-pressuring-inducing Gia is rather memorable. However, Sokoloff's career has expanded beyond Full House, and you might be shocked to see the shows she's appeared in since. In addition to her roles on Desperate Housewives, Drop Dead Diva, and Grey's Anatomy, she most recently acted with Katie Holmes and Allison Janney in the movie A Happening of Monumental Proportions. Judge Reinhold. In Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Judge Reinhold played Brad Hamilton, a serious elder brother who launched his career. He played the still kind kidnapper in 1986's Ruthless People before moving on to more evil roles. A few years later, he landed a role in Beverly Hills Cop and appeared in the movie's sequels. In 2013, he played Detective Billy Rosewood again in the Beverly Hills Cop TV pilot. However, the show was not picked up. Samantha Fox. In addition to being a well-known singer, model, and actress in the 1980s, Samantha Fox had the dubious distinction of having her many famous posters hang on the walls of almost every teenage boy's bedroom in America. The British pinup girl's breakthrough song, Touch Me, helped propel her to global recognition and is still played on radio playlists today. Fox was notorious for having romances with both men and women. She was in a 16-year relationship with her manager, Myra Stratton, with whom she starred in the 2008 season of Celebrity Wife Swap, a reality television program. Fox participated in Celebrity Big Brother, another reality TV program, in 2016. She placed 7th overall. Daryl Hannah. The Fury, a 1978 horror classic, began Daryl Hannah's career. She has since starred in iconic 1980s movies like Blade Runner, Splash with Tom Hanks, Steel Magnolias, High Spirits, and Wall Street. Although her career took a slight downturn in the 1990s, she returned to box office success in the mid-aughts with her roles as Elle Driver, a deadly Viper Assassination Squad member, and an international assassin in the Kill Bill movies. She's since continued to feature in additional films and productions, most recently in the thriller Sense8 on Netflix, a Wachowski sisters sci-fi production. Debbie Gibson. Debbie Gibson was a fashion icon and pioneer in the late 1980s, yet many people may not recognize her today. She impacted a whole generation and established fashion trends for years with her characteristic black caps, rolled-up jeans, vests over t-shirts, and 2 watches on one hand. Gibson continued to write, perform, and work well into the 2000s. In June 2017, Billboard magazine reported that Gibson achieved her highest charting hit in more than 25 years, her duet with Sir Ivan on I Am Peaceman, which peaked at number 26 on the Billboard Dance Club chart. Her debut album, appropriately named Out of the Blue, featured arguably her most significant hit, the song Foolish Beat, making her the youngest female artist to write, produce, and perform a Billboard Hot 100 #1 single. Madonna. One artist who doesn't need an introduction is Madonna, the queen of pop, who began her career in the 1980s and helped define the pop sound of that decade and many more. Madonna, the recipient of innumerable awards, honors, and titles, has an immense influence on music, video, fashion, and dance. And it would be nearly impossible to cover it all here. As you're probably aware, Madonna is still active and influential today, more than 3 decades later. And her world tours continue to sell out and break records, solidifying her position at the top of the pop music hierarchy. Soleil Moon Frye. Born in 1976, Soleil Moon Frye began her career as a professional actress at 1978. At 7, she was cast as the title character in the iconic NBC sitcom Punky Brewster. She later played characters in other iconic 90s series, such as The Wonder Years, Saved by the Bell, and Friends, and co-starred with her longtime friend, actress and producer Melissa Joan Hart in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. In recent years, Moon Frye has stopped acting and launched her prosperous business. Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald, who starred in well-known 1980s movies like 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink, is arguably the face of the decade, or at least the face of John Hughes' Voice of a Generation films. Ringwald still acts today, most recently in Siberia in 2018, opposite Keanu Reeves, and Riverdale, the popular CW adaptation of Archie Comics. Jennifer Beals. After graduating from Yale, Jennifer Beals made her big Hollywood debut in the 1983 film Flashdance. She went on to star in films like Vampire Kiss and The Bride, and she continued to star in movies like Devil in a Blue Dress, The Last Days of Disco, Roger Dodger, The Book of Eli, and Before I Fall. In the last few years, she starred in the Showtime drama The L Word, and in 2019, she finished filming the first season of DC's Swamp Thing. Ricky Schroder. In an interview, Ricky Schroder revealed how he jokes with his kids about his childhood acting career. You know, Dad wasn't as big as Justin Bieber, but Dad was pretty big when he was just 15. Schroder gained notoriety as a child actor in 1979's The Champ, but he became a celebrity after landing the lead role in the sitcom Silver Spoons at age 12. Jennifer Jason Leigh. One of Jennifer Jason Leigh's most notable roles was Daisy DeMerg in Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight, for which she received nominations for an Oscar, a BAFTA, and a Golden Globe. The actress first made her mark on 80s pop culture in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where she played Stacey Hamilton, one of the main characters in the film's large ensemble cast. Following Fast Times, Leigh appeared in award-winning films like Georgia and Shortcuts, and continued to act throughout the 1990s and 2000s. Corey Feldman. After his success in the 1980s, Corey Feldman turned to reality TV, hosting the show The Two Coreys and competing in Dancing on Ice. Feldman started acting at 3 and was already featured in significant blockbusters like Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, Gremlins, The Goonies, and Stand By Me by the time he was 12. His memoir, which he appropriately titled Choreography, was published in 2013. Kim Basinger. Another iconic figure of the 1980s and 1990s is Kim Basinger, who made her Hollywood debut in Hard Country in 1981 and then seemed to land role after role in hugely successful movies. She played journalist Vicky Vale in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, Bond girl Domino Patacci in 1983's Never Say Never Again, and other memorable roles in LA Confidential, 8 Mile, and more. Basinger hasn't let the years slow her down and is still acting today, most recently playing Judith Kuttner in The Nice Guys and a businesswoman Elena Lincoln in the 50 Shades films. Mia Sara. After her iconic performance as Sloane Peterson in John Hughes' iconic coming-of-age film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Mia Sara went on to star in several other films, such as 1985's Legend and 1994's Time Cop. Although she still acts professionally, Mia Sara is married to director Brian Henson, the eldest son of Muppets and Sesame Street creator Jim Henson. She's had roles in several of his films, most recently as Princess Langwidere in Dorothy and the Witches of Oz. Catherine Bach. Following her tenure on the Dukes of Hazzard, Catherine Bach continued to act and is currently seen in the role of Anita Lawson on The Young and the Restless, a role she has played since 2012. Her portrayal of Daisy Duke on the show created a fashion trend that's still going strong today with her short cut-off jeans, a look she came up with after deciding the original outfit meant for her character just wouldn't cut it. Cyndi Lauper. Her 1983 solo album, She's So Unusual, featured hits like She Bop and Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Lauper went on to win a Grammy for Best New Artist and a Tony Award for writing the Broadway musical Kinky Boots. And she is now a strong advocate for LGBTQ rights and humanitarian causes. Lauper is one of the most recognizable and colorful figures of the 1980s pop scene, and her unconventional yet stylish style continues to influence the fashion and music industries today. Kelly LeBrock. After starring in John Hughes' Weird Science and The Woman in Red, Kelly LeBrock was regarded as one of the most beautiful women of the 1980s. Although she was married to actor Steven Seagal and her acting career never really took off, she's mostly given up acting. She now concentrates on advocating for affordable health care and other significant social causes. Kelly McGillis. Relatively late in her career compared to many other actresses, Kelly McGillis began acting at 28, but that didn't stop her from landing some great roles. Her breakthrough performance was opposite Harrison Ford in Witness, for which she was nominated for a Golden Globe and a BAFTA Award. She then played Charlie in Top Gun with Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, and she still acts today, in addition to working full-time as a drug addict recovery counselor. Phoebe Cates. One of the most talented young actors of the 1980s, Phoebe Cates won over audiences with her roles in Fast Times in Ridgemont High and the 2 Gremlins films. Despite her success, Cates gave up acting in 1994 to devote herself to her family, and she's now a mother of 3 children and the owner of a fashion boutique in New York City. Jami Gertz. Jami Gertz continued to act throughout the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s, appearing in iconic roles in Ally McBeal, ER, and Entourage, and in the lead role in the CBS sitcom Still Standing. In addition to acting in several 1980s classics such as 16 Candles and The Lost Boys and the Sarah Jessica Parker-led show Square Pegs, Gertz is currently one of the owners of the NBA basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks. Lisa Whelchel. As a member of the New Mickey Mouse Club, Lisa Whelchel began her career in entertainment at the age of 12. She was cast as Blair Warner on The Facts of Life in 1979, a role she would play for 9 years. In addition to her acting career, Whelchel is a talented musician nominated for a Grammy for her album All Because of You. She's also appeared on the reality television show Survivor Philippines in recent years, where she tied for second place and won the title of fan favorite. She's also very active in her Christian faith and frequently speaks at Women of Faith. Claudia Wells. Claudia Wells is best known for her role as Jennifer Parker, Marty McFly's love interest in the original Back to the Future film. She's even more well-known for not playing the character in the sequels. Wells left the acting industry soon after Back to the Future to pursue a different career path, opening Armani Wells, a clothing store in the early 1990s that she still owns and runs today. Kirk Cameron. One of the biggest stars of the 1990s, Kirk Cameron joined the Growing Pains cast and starred in the show from 1985 to 1992. He later starred in several other productions such as Listen to Me and Like Father Like Son, but he's taken a break from acting in recent years. He's now concentrating on the Way of the Master, an evangelical Christian ministry he founded. Robert Townsend. Robert Townsend, who wrote, produced, directed, and starred in the lead role of the Hollywood Shuffle in 1987, was also a major contributor to the creation of Eddie Murphy Raw and co-starred with Denzel Washington in The Mighty Quinn in 1989. Townsend now focuses on producing and directing, and he's appeared in Diary of a Single Mom and Los American, as well as Next to Normal and Playing for Love. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon